Was the state totally aware of the volatile situation here?
Absolutely.
Did you talk to them personally?
One of the supervisors for the state on Saturday night when I went up to the fire station had formerly been a guard firefighter on a prison crew, and then he wanted to get out of the DOC part, and so we hired him here as a firefighter EMT. So he was on my department for maybe 6 months or longer. Knew him very well. He knows this area. He knows what this area is all about and the fire danger here.
Who was that?
That was Phil Brulio.
Did you feel like there was a sense of urgency?
No.
Do you feel like they just wanted to let it burn?
Yeah, actually I did.
Describe that. Why do you think they just wanted to let it burn?
Because I told several of the people that our prevailing winds up here come from the southwest, typically, and they don't start up in the morning until between 8 and 9 o'clock. I said, this being summertime, that'll give you 3 hours free without wind at your backs to be able to get this thing under control. My wife and I come out here and have our coffee in the morning. We're out here from maybe 6:45 or 7 o'clock, and at 8:03, Granite Mountain Hotshots, 2 buggies went by. Right after they went by, the leaves started to blow. I just shook my head. They didn't listen to me.
They got here too late.
Too little, too late. They got dozers out there. We built an emergency escape route for Yarnell in case there was a burnout like this and people were unable to get out. We had an emergency escape route for either Yarnell to get out through Glen Isla or Glen Isla to get out through Yarnell. And it was back there, well, it went through that area below the shrine, west of the shrine. And they had dozers back there widening that so that it would create a fire break. Too little, too late, man. You should have been doing all of that Saturday morning. If they didn't get that thing out Friday night, which in my mind there's no reason for that to have not been put out. BLM station down here, the Weaver Mountain station, has a helicopter. It was there. When we went to, my wife and I went to Wickenburg at about maybe 11 o'clock on Saturday. At the bottom of the hill at an antique store was where we found out that there had been a fire. And as we drove by the BLM station, I saw this helicopter sitting there. They have a 300-gallon Bambi bucket. They've been given permission to draw out of Hidden Springs Horse Ranch. They have a horseshoe-shaped lake that they use for training, or for like training their thoroughbreds and stuff. And Patrick Bernard has given them permission to draw out of his pond, and nobody did.
So they could have used a chopper to get people up Friday night or early Saturday morning.
They could have driven to that on Friday night, and they weren't doing anything on Saturday. They were watching it, and it was cooking. I mean, the whole ridge. That's the reason I went to the fire station when I came back from Prescott. I didn't come home. I went to the fire station and said, what is up? You told me this afternoon that you guys were on this, that you had it under control. I said, this thing's over 500 acres now. It's huge.
By Saturday afternoon?
Saturday afternoon, when we went to Prescott, we could see a column of smoke. And I'd been told in Congress that they'd gotten it out Friday night. So I broke out my cell phone and I called Bruce Olson. I didn't know Bruce was on the fire, but I knew Bruce was this area's BLM guy. Turned out he was on the fire. And he told me, well, you know, we've got it under control. We're watching it. We're keeping it. They had crews up there on Saturday afternoon doing something. Of course, it was ineffective, but without air in an area like this, you might as well get out there and piss on it. Of course, that would have been better than what they were doing.
So when you read the report and you see him talk about nobody did anything wrong, yet the wildfire rules are pretty clear about certain things you're supposed to do.
Right.
Among them, the LCES, lookout, communications, escape, safety zone.
And where was their lookout? I guess he was up here at the ranch house.
And no communications for 30 minutes.
Right.
The escape route was through thick chaparral.
In a box canyon. I mean, anybody that's ever taken a wildland class is warned about box canyons and the chimney effect. You know, you might as well be standing in a fireplace with the flue open. It was tragic. It really was, because they shouldn't have been there. Had everybody on the back and whitewash any. There was no wrongdoing on anybody's part as far as that report went. We're not here to point fingers. Well, what are you here for? You're investigators. Investigators are supposed to investigate. They're supposed to point fingers. They're supposed to say, hey, what if this had happened? They never said any what ifs. Well, what if they had gotten on that fire Friday night?